But what's the hype around ZIGCHAIN? Is that also a core element of Zignaly?
So Zignaly has always been about financial independence, wealth generation for the audience. And we started thinking DeFi. We thought, okay, we have millions of transactions every week, every month. Why do we give it to some other chain?
Good morning. What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the BlockHash Podcast. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to invest alongside some of the top digital asset managers in the space? Now you can through Zignaly. Today we're going to talk to their co-founder, their CFO, Rafay, and he's joining me today to discuss how Zignaly works, how they're empowering traders, and how are they doing this in particular. Rafay, how you doing today, man? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm doing well. Thank you. And first of all, once again, thank you for inviting me here and allowing me to talk about Zignaly and our long-term vision.
Before we get started, I think the best thing to do is maybe give a quick little introduction. Who's Rafay? What have you kind of done prior to jumping into Web3, and what's your story?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Pakistan, born and brought up in Pakistan, education in Pakistan as well, and I was a through and through finance guy. Even my studies, I studied from one of the top schools in Pakistan, in finance and banking and accounting, and I ended up with banking. I was working with Standard Chartered Bank, which was one of the premier bank in Pakistan, and then I moved to Dubai, where I worked there for 4 years in the corporate banking sector. It was, but always in my mind, because of my family background, was that I wanted to get an experience and then get back into the business. Because my brothers and cousins and all of us in our early days, we started a technology group called Disrupt.com, which is, by the way, right now is the largest technology group out of Pakistan. So I'm the head of investment and the founder of that alongside Zignaly. Um, I left banking because of cryptos, early 2015. So yeah, I was in cryptos since 2013 actually, but studying it for a couple of years, and then I left banking for cryptos. For the first few years, I was investing, I was advising, and I was playing around and looking at a lot of opportunities. Um, got into some really good plays like by, you call it by luck or chance or whatever. I was one of the first investors in Binance as well back in the day, which obviously yielded one of the best returns ever in any kind of investment that you can think of. Then, I was running a hedge fund for some time in cryptos. And while doing that, I stumbled upon this thing called Zignaly. So Zignaly started one month before I joined Zignaly. It was
Oh,
started by
wow.
Bart and David, two of the other founders. I came in as an investor initially, but that changed my journey completely. I kind of shut down everything else, and since then, my 80 to 90% focus of the day has been on Zignaly. I've been fully focused. I did not start anything else after that, and because I realized that one thing that I wanted to do was to provide financial freedom to the masses. I come from a country where, number one, having the financial resources is a challenge, and number two, even if you have financial resources, having an opportunity to invest it globally is nearly impossible. So I wanted to use blockchain or whatever medium out there is to solve that problem. Blockchain gave this opportunity. So for last almost 6 years now, I've been fully dedicated to Zignaly, working with the world-class team. We have an amazing team. So yeah, that's my background.
How was when you joined Zignaly, do you know how it was conceptualized, like what the original idea or inspiration was behind it?
Yeah, interestingly, this is where I got hooked in, right? So I was looking for a product to connect APIs and run my copy trading, right? And I stumbled upon
Hmm.
Zignaly, and when got on a call with them for the first time, they were speaking the same language. They are from Spain, I'm from Pakistan, two different countries, never talked to each other, and suddenly speaking the same language, which got me interested. So Zignaly at that time was just like simply what do you call it, a signal automating platform. So it was very basic. The idea was scratching our own itch, because my partner Bart, he's a tech guy. He didn't know anything about trading. Now, well, if he's listening right now, he's still slightly better, but still he doesn't know much about trading. So what he wanted to do was that he wanted to just automate the signals and kind of make money out of it. But the thing is that he realized very soon that this is much bigger problem than his own problem, right? And he started developing. And obviously, at that time, we got in, we started working together, we started fundraising. But at the concept, it was the same idea that there is a huge 99.999% audience out there who doesn't know anything about trading or investing, and there is a very unique niche of 0.0001% people maybe who know how to trade and how to make money. So how do we connect them? How do we make sure that they are connected and fund managers are monetizing their skill set and the users are putting their money in the right fund? It started exactly like that. And we generally, people ask us that, how your vision has transformed over the years. We say that it's the same. It is evolutionized in something better, but it's literally the same.
Yeah, I feel like, Zignaly can apply to a lot of people out there, trading today. I don't think they want to try and do all the research and info themselves when they're going through that stuff. But what's the hype around ZIGCHAIN? I've heard quite a bit about that as well. Is that also a core element of Zignaly?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. So I'll give you a little bit of a background on that. So Zignaly has always been about financial independence, wealth generation for the audience, and we are a centralized platform. Signal is a centralized platform where we are one of the largest brokers under Binance. Okay, and we are connecting hundreds of thousands of users with hundreds of traders. But it has always been a centralized structure, right? And we wanted to become DeFi. So 1 year, 1.5 year back, we started thinking about how do we bring in more options, because right now it's only about investment via trading, right? And there is a whole lot of world out there. Like there are NFTs and DeFi lending, borrowing, staking, whatever the world is out there, and there are some experts who are doing that perfectly. So how do we bring that to Zignaly? We started thinking more DeFi, and when we started thinking DeFi, we thought, okay, we have millions of transactions every week, every month. Why do we give it to some other chain? It commercially makes sense to have our own chain, not because it is profitable. Number one, yes, it is, of course. But number two, more importantly, then we can create an environment where the developers can be incentivized or can be rallied upon the idea of wealth generation. And then they can create protocols which are then used by the fund managers to optimize the return. And hence the idea of ZIGCHAIN comes. Generally, the problem faced by the blockchain is a cold start problem. That okay, would the developers come first or would the TVL come first? For us, the idea is that once we launch our blockchain towards end of the year or early next year, we already have users. We have hundreds of thousands of users. We have TVL, and this is why it's becoming an advantage. Then we go out and when we talk to the developers or even the current existing projects, they are more than willing to bridge over because they know that there is a platform which has a rich history of more than 6 years. They have a working product. They know what they are around, docs people, legit teams, and they can come in and they can develop on our chain and they will get the right TVL. So this is why the idea of ZigChain comes in.
What's your guys' overarching vision for Zignaly? I know, again, decentralizing wealth generation is an important aspect.
Yeah. So overarching vision is as I said, like we know that if we want to create something big, it will have a financial side to it. There is no free lunch for anyone, and it is not possible to create something big in the world of finance without having it as a larger financial entity as well. So we know that we are in a mission to create something big financially in terms of numbers, yes. But let's talk about the impact. We have micro communities in countries like Turkey and South Africa and Pakistan and India, Argentina, and countries where there is high inflation, there is currency depreciation, and people do not really have opportunities to invest in their local markets, and they are holding on to the USDT. It's a very common thing, and then they are deploying their money on Zignaly's fund managers. And over a period of time, again, it's not an overnight get rich scheme, which gives you an idea that the vision is that the people who are not able to either invest on their own or do not have the access, we make financial independence easier for them. That's been the vision, and that is something which has always transpired into our product journey as well. We bring one thing after the other, but this fundamental idea of wealth generation, of financial independence and the wealth generation remains at the core.
I also noticed that you guys had a tokenomics update recently around ZIG token. And what are some of the key aspects of that, and what about that also creates, some long-term value for ZIG token and, bolsters that ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So basically, what happened is that when obviously when you are a new token and you're gonna go for a blockchain, you have all the time to play with the tokenomics. But for us, the token was already live for 3 years. Okay, and then we decided to go for with a blockchain. That means you need fuel for the growth. And if you do not have fuel for the growth, how would you run a blockchain? So what we did is that we redefined tokenomics in a very smart way. I would like to call it a smart way because we increased the supply by 25%, but we increased it in a way that it is actually seen as something positive. Why? Because we create, through our tokenomics update, we are creating a short and a midterm supply glut, which is to and a demand high through our tokenomics, because there's a staking program and everything. The idea here is that when people are looking at it, they need more tokens to get the long term advantage. And the hypothesis is that by the time that advantage in terms of the token emission comes out, that the chain would be so much self-sufficient in a couple of years that this velocity would be at a different level, and people would not even feel about the emission. Um, Using that underlying mindset of giving back to the community, we are going to start a staking program sometime next week, and this is also part of the tokenomics because the major chunk of these extra tokens are actually going back to the community, again creating a demand glut in a short term, and a very good hierarchy here. Emission schedule looks very nice, and the community is absolutely excited about it. This is why when we went for the on-chain voting, we got more than 99.5% votes as yes, which is again a strong support from the ecosystem.
Yeah, you mentioned the staking program for ZIG. Do you want to elaborate on that more as well?
Yeah, sure. So we are basically starting a very unique program for ZIG. So what are we doing is that starting next week, people would be able to stake their ZIG on ERC20 on our protocol, and they will receive the rewards on the main net, which is going to go live either end of this year or early next year. And the APY is going to be very attractive. By rough estimates, I think it should be something between 35 to 45%, which is pretty attractive. And it is going to be like a one-time program over a period of 4 to 5 months. Again, the idea is to create a demand glut, to create more long-term incentive, and most importantly, to create awareness. When you do such kind of programs in this kind of a market, you have more and more people talking about you. Okay, and the idea is that when people have it and when they start getting the rewards, playing with the UI UX, we can actually create an environment that when people are getting their tokens back or the rewards back, they will have tens of things on the DeFi ecosystem inside Zignaly to work with it, be launching of the meme coins or NFTs, lending borrowing protocols, staking, whatever. So there's a lot of play for them out there.
I also noticed that for Zignaly, a lot of your guys, founders, have extended the lockup period for the tokens as well that they have. And it's quite an interesting take, but also something that you don't see quite often in this space for founders to do so and to take that initiative. So I think it's pretty cool that they have been doing that. You guys have been doing that. Was there anything that kind of seeded that idea or a reason for why? Like, does it help the ecosystem?
Yeah, so if we had not vested our token, our all of our token would have been unlocked by now, and no one could have done anything because when we launched our token 3.25 years back, it was written in the tokenomics that our tokens will start unlocking in 6 months' time with a 30 months vesting, which would have been over by now. But every year we have been extending it as founders because we really want to take our project to a certain level before we start getting our own benefit out of it. We have never taken a single token out of Zignaly. We have never sold a single token as founders. Like we think of it as something really big, okay. And of course we do take salaries, minimal amounts, but as tokens, we are always like, we want to make it something really big. We want to remain part of the ecosystem. With blockchain coming in, I mean, it doesn't make sense at all to sell tokens, and we would want to become, validators, play the governance role. We even allocated 100 million tokens of our own, so which is like 20% of our allocated team founders token to the foundation for the blockchain growth. Community again appreciates it a lot. For us, the idea is to have something small of a very large pie as compared to something large of a very small pie. That kind of a mindset we are applying. And again, we think about financial freedom and community first and all that. But if we really don't live it, then what's the point? So we are trying to live it by an example. So on chain, everyone can see everything. So yeah, we've been extending. Our lockup is supposed to end in January next year, but let's see what we do about it. But I don't see us getting it anytime soon.
A chain's success is largely measured by TVL and transaction volume. How do you plan to bring that to ZigChain, and through what methods?
There is a lot of elements that we are working on. One thing is obviously our current Zignaly's dApp application will convert into a dApp, and it has its own magnificent amount of AUM that will convert into the TVL. But on top of it, we are going to have multiple programs. So we are going to have developer strategy where we are going to incentivize developers on a week-to-week basis for an incremental TVL. So not the highest number of TVL, but the incremental TVL week on week. That's that. Then we will be, incentivizing users to farm and to add TVL against which they will going to get reward. Because the problem is that you cannot have everything organic, even how big you have a community and projects and everything. Initially you have to fuel the fire a little bit, and once you do that, then you start getting more and more people. So again, the idea here is that we are going to have multiple programs. We are going to onboard, we are already talking to more than 15 developers, dapps by the way, who are going to launch on our blockchain within the 1 week of the mainnet, and they will be also part of the testnet experience. And what are they doing is that they are bringing their own communities in. And the best thing is that their dApp will be used by the fund managers of the Zignaly's dApp. And they know that. And that's why they are putting their heart and soul into it. Um, the developers program and the user program and all of these things, they are the critical part of the journey. In a couple of weeks' time, or maybe by the mid of next month, we'll start to roll out the details around that. That how would the developer program look like? How would everything look
Mhm.
like? We will be rolling out a new white paper as well, so all these segregation are going to be in there as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was part of my next question as well for the developer program. Is that something that's going to be the main driver for helping to attract more builders, more developers to ZigChain and to develop on your guys' ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is no, you can create a blockchain in 5 minutes, by the way, but what would a blockchain be without the developer ecosystem? So like, we have some really cool guys on our side. One of our advisors has been, a board member of a $7 billion company that is completely developer focused, and he's a hands-on advisor. We have another advisor who has been, teaching disruptive technologies to even the founder of Uber for last 16 years, right? These are the guys who are working with us on creating this network flywheel, in a way that, where we can have a budding ecosystem, bringing in these developers. So why would these developers come in? There are two or three things which we believe it can stand us out. Number one, all the blockchains and most of the dApps on these blockchain, you see that they are very tech focused. They are still pretty much the people from outside are like outcast. We are really focusing and prioritizing dApps that are going to have better UI UX to bring in audience. This is the best way. Like if you have easy user onboarding onto Web3, which is something which Telegram is doing really well through their Ton chain. Okay,
Mhm.
if you can have that, that is amazing. Because once you have that, that means the Web2 user would not feel the pain of coming onto Web3, and that's the TVL coming in. More TVL you bring in through that method, the more developers would be attracted, because what would developer develop for if there is no TVL? So as I said, there is a good thing for us is that the DVL is coming from Zignaly, a very significant number. But on top of it, you need to grow, grow, grow. And developers program and incentive program will also help, yes, but to a certain extent. You cannot keep subsidizing everything all your life. It doesn't work like that. So at that particular point in time, when we are looking for the founders whom we would like to support as a foundation to develop their dApps on the chain, we are looking for the founders who really value the UI UX. There's a very huge differentiation that people will see. Also, what we are doing is that, even for developers, the blockchain documentation is a mess. Like even if you look at Solana or Ethereum or whatever, the developer documentation is a mess. We are trying to create something so that we can proudly say that it is going to be the best ever developer experience the blockchain world has ever seen. Okay, with the kind of documentation that we are going to bring in. The easier the documentation is, the easier for the developers to come in, and then they can really focus on the business development part, where again, we would obviously be trying to help a lot of them in the early days so they can grow. So long story short, it's a very mixed journey. No neither the foundation nor the founders can do it on their own. I mean, the dApps founders, everyone has to work together to make sure that they're working towards the same goal.
From a user perspective, I know UI in the space is something that's becoming a great importance as well. Like, how important is it for you guys in terms of making it super easy? Like you mentioned, if you're Web 2 trying to come over to Web 3, being able to use crypto and stuff, it can be a bit more tricky to get the first time around. And UI traditionally in the space hasn't been, that great. Do you guys also put an emphasis on developing out really good user interface for users?
We have always talked about this, even before the blockchain. We have always talked about this, that when someone should come into the Web3, there should be a big invest button and big withdraw button.
Yeah,
Anything else should be in the background. People don't need to know that, oh, the DeFi transaction is going through Uniswap and then to the one end to blockchain, blah blah. All this is a noise. This is technology. People don't need to know. People don't get it. This is scares people out. I one of the guys that I've been working with is a CTO of one of the largest car manufacturer in the world. And the only reason he doesn't touch cryptos is because he's like, when I open the wallet, it's a nightmare. Okay, so UI UX is the most important part, and we should not alienate the people outside. We should not make the onboarding journey difficult. You know, why do you think memes are doing well? Because memes are easy to onboard. People are onboarding into crypto through memes. Like they are the best onboarding tools. Best onboarding tool right now in the Web3 space, I believe, is having a meme. So all of this, comes down to a point is that how easy you make a UI UX for people to invest. Someone coming through the ZIGCHAIN or Zignaly to invest in crypto should feel the same like they are investing through eToro or Robinhood or DarwinX, something Web2. It should be that simple. Anything to do with blockchain, user gives zero damn about it. Okay, it should be something at the back end. Invest, withdraw, amazing UI UX, amazing ledger. That's it. End of the story.
exactly. I mean, blockchain is a back-end technology, right? It's kind of like the same concept with Google. Like, people don't care how information is received and sent through Google. They just want to be able to ask a question.
Absolutely, absolutely. People don't care.
Well, exactly. Well, what does your guys' time horizon kind of look like? Some things on your roadmap, rest of 2024, going into the next year, things that you think are important for people to keep in mind or look out for?
Our staking program is going live next week, most likely. This will be followed by the testnet waitlist. We will be launching an ambassador program. Then the testnet gonna go live. There will be a lot of gamification around it, and then towards the end of the year, we will have our mainnet coming out. So yeah, we only have what 4 months left in the year now, but there's a lot to come. Yeah, we are very excited about it. We have been building the whole year for these last 4 months.
Are you guys going to be at any events, conferences, shows?
So I'm traveling tonight to Indonesia, where we are attending CoinFest. Last week we did a very big event in Istanbul during Istanbul Blockchain Week. Next month we gonna be at Korea Blockchain Week. We will be at Token 2049 in Singapore. We'll be the gold sponsors this year. We'll also be at Solana Breakpoint. And then in the end of October, we will be at Binance Blockchain Week. We will again be gold sponsors. Before that, there is a big Cosmos conference happening in Dubai. We'll be there as well. And yeah, that's for the next 2 months. And I'm pretty sure we'll be at more events as well. We are pretty event heavy going into the last quarter of the year.
Looking at the Web3 space, it is filled with innovation. Everyone's innovating all the time. Things are constantly changing and growing, which is fantastic. What impact do you think ZigChain will have, in the Web3 space? And what do you think in terms of innovation it'll drive over the next 5 years or so?
What is the blockchain without a thriving developer ecosystem and thriving TVL? Honestly, when we talk internally, we target a $10 billion TVL. Why $10 billion TVL? Because we believe that this is a good number to have this kind of a network effect where the developer would not want to develop anywhere else and they would want to develop on ZigChain. And when there is a competition between the dApps to deliver the best value, they will optimize for the returns that their dApp can create for the fund manager to pick them. And when there is a fight at the wealth manager level, people will get the best outcome. Okay, so people in the blockchain space, they would be like, oh, I can play around with whatever everywhere, but if I want to invest my money and make safe returns out of it, ZigChain is the place where I'm gonna go because at a modular level, they have something where I can invest money, and then fund managers in a DeFi, CeFi combined manner across the spectrum, across the chains through the interoperability partnerships, they can actually invest into the best of the best, yield generating dApps and can pass on the returns. This is what we want to see from ZigChain, and all of it is happening in an extremely amazing UI UX. People would not. I'm emphasizing on it again and again, the UI UX, because we know that if we do not create an amazing UI UX, we will then be competing to the other blockchains on the pieces that we don't want to compete with. We don't want to compete on the gas speed. We don't want to compete on the pricing of the transaction, because we are built on Cosmos and everything there is cheap. You can do 3,600 transactions in $1, and it is as fast as your WhatsApp message. Okay, so we are not going to compete on top of it. It's as good as it is. You know, so we want to compete on the customer acquisition, on the UI UX perspective. We really believe in the partnership. So what we really see is ZigChain as like a hub of activity for more than $10 billion, for more than 100 million people, where everyone's interacting in millions of transactions daily. Everyone is making money and getting the true potential out of the Web3 space.
Awesome. Where can people go to learn more, sign up? Maybe you're a developer, maybe they want to build as well. Where would you direct people?
Right now, so everyone should subscribe to our Twitter X account, basically, which is Zignaly's account, and also you can create an account at Zignaly.com. Okay, these are the two best places for the information. And when you go on our Twitter, you will see that we have a Telegram channel, we have a Discord channel. So Discord channel is the place where you have more product user developers and those activities happening. Twitter and Telegram are the places where more token around, like ZIG token discussions are happening. So this is like segregated automatically by the community. But if you subscribe to our Twitter, the advantage is that you get every information 3 times a day from our Twitter. If we are launching a developer program, if we're launching any initiative, anything new, Twitter is the place where it hits first.
And if they want to get in contact with you, maybe they want to connect, or maybe people want to collab too, other projects.
My DMs are open. Zignaly's DMs are open. My Twitter is open all the time. I am a very public figure that way. I like to travel, so I travel, meet people. So and yeah, people talk to me all the time. We have more than 100 partnerships already. Just because of this, we are very open. We want to work with more and more projects. So yeah, they can reach out to our Twitter handle, or they can reach out to me. Drop by our Telegram or Discord. You can find all the information on our website, zignaly.com.
Rafay, thank you for taking the time to come on today and chat about Zignaly. I think you guys are doing some awesome stuff. Definitely keep me posted on what you guys are doing next, and best of luck for the rest of this year and all the events you're attending and in conferences. And you guys got something really cool with ZigChain.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me today. And yeah, we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye bye.